Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly.
Well, welcome back to the DCL podcast, your podcast to cruise a little smarter. I'm your host, Christy, and I am not with Lake, as you know, or he would be starting the show, but I am not alone. I have the OG, the podfather, the one and only Steve, who's coming back to do the itinerary release episode with me this week. Welcome back, Steve.
Well, thanks for having me back. It's always fun to jump back on when I get a chance, but I have big shoes to fill because Lake is much more technical than I am when it comes to these releases. I have broad pictures, but Lake dials it in a little bit better, so I'll try and keep up and see what we can do tonight.
Yeah, and I should also just preface this as saying that in the past, Disney has released this PDF for travel agents that really nicely lets us see all of the different dates and itineraries. And now we have to click through 7 web pages to actually get the same information. So, we might fumble a bit, but it's okay. We're going to have fun and we get to talk about new cruises.
Exactly. And Lake's going to do his magic and get it all tied up and edited so that it flows seamlessly tonight, Christy. No, I mean, this is a pretty cool, and I think everybody was pretty excited about it because this is not necessarily always the most exciting release, but I got kind of a little bit of a take on this, but I think that what they've done, which makes it hard to go through, because usually there's 1 or 2 cruises with a one-off where you can go, oh, the Fantasy does its normal thing, but it does this on this one day. That's not the case with this one. They are all over the board.
Yeah, they are. They're really trying to make it difficult for all of us to even know what ship is in what location. On Monday, Disney released a tease. I don't know if Disney's ever released a tease like this prior to a release of a new sailing season, where they put the coordinates, the longitude and latitude of different home ports on a picture and said, coming tomorrow. Have they ever done anything like that? Never.
Other than teasing some of the stuff that's going to be on the new ships, before they've come out, nothing like this as far as their release goes.
So it was kind of cool that we knew it was coming. And then we could say, okay, next week is booking week for all those people that are doing that kind of thing, because it just goes in line with their normal standard. But it gave us stuff to be excited about. And the big one, of course, was that Disney Cruise Line was going back to New York, which people were hoping.
I think the internet, as they say, kind of lost its mind. There's so many people who live in the northeast part of the United States and not having to drive down to Florida and being able to jump on a Disney ship and do a cruise, especially to Bermuda. And a lot of people wanted to go back to Canada. That is pretty exciting for a lot of people. Yeah,
so there's not a ton of sailings out of New York, but there are 7 maybe. And it's just great to be back. We're not going to start with New York. We'll go there soon. But I think that just as a release, it was exciting. It was a fun release day. I know our group chat was blowing up and very busy. And you were in California actually yesterday. So you woke up with Wake to 50 messages or something between all of us.
It was 62 texts, I think, by the time Wake woke up. But, I just want to throw 2 things out there. If you're a hardcore United Airlines flyer, they've been doing this here recently. They just came out with their new schedule with their latest flights. And they had this whole cabin video, I guess, where it was kind of this made up story. And they had all these hidden meanings in some of the scenes in each one. And it all had to do with the destinations. And I think it's cool to see Disney kind of jumping on the same way, where they're having a little bit of fun with their customers, with their, frequent cruisers like you and I and everybody else it gets you excited about where they're going to go next. So props to Disney for jumping on board and doing this as well.
Yeah, little Easter eggs, right? Taylor Swift, everybody always says that she'll put an Easter egg in random releases that lead up to a new CD but a new release. So same, little Easter eggs to let people know what's going on.
At least you didn't say 8-track. So this is my take. I was thinking about this today. Actually, I was thinking about it last night. That what makes this an exciting release for Disney Cruise Line is we want to go to some different places. We want to go to do some different things. And what they've done with this is, are they necessarily going to tons of different places? No, not necessarily, but they are going to some different places. But what they think that they've done, which is sort of cool, other than maybe one or two ships, is they're all over the place. And let me give you my example by that is I'm going to be completely honest. The Wish is not my ship. It's not my favorite class of ship. It's not the kind of ship that I really want to go on. But it's going to Europe. That's where we like to cruise. And it's getting us on the Wish again. And that may change my mind. And I'm not making it about me, but I think what's cool is the Fantasy is going to be going to the Southern Caribbean. The Fantasy is going to the Bahamas.
My Fantasy's leaving me.
I know, but it's cool because it's going to get other people that maybe have only cruised on the Wish, that love the Wish, to possibly book the Fantasy and go to the Southern Caribbean with it. And that's kind of what, like, and you know this, like Norwegian and Royal, Celebrity, their ships kind of circle around and go to different ports in different places. And it gives people opportunities to get on different things and maybe find that hidden gem that they didn't think that they would find on a different ship or something like that. I know, like, there's a lot of people that have sailed on the new Triton class, the Wish, the Destiny, and the Treasure. And I've seen it online. It's like, well, you know, I really want to go to Alaska, but it's on the Wonder and it's an old ship. Am I really going to like it? Are my kids going to be excited about it? And so I think what Disney's doing here is kind of a really cool thing, because it's going to get, I'm excited to see the ships going to different places, and it's going to get people on different things. And please don't come back and hate me that I don't like the Wish. That's not true at all. I'm excited to go on the Wish in Europe next year and experience it again, because, you know, we've done the Fantasy and the Dream several times over there. It's time to do something different.
Well, and you are going on the Destiny shortly next month. And so you're going to get more experiences on that class where you can actually get some more of the specialty details that Disney added to future ships that wasn't on the Wish. So
right.
Are we ready now?
Yeah, sorry. I just want to get that. I'm excited for this. So.
As you were talking, though, it did remind me the moving the ships around and the New York and getting people excited. What's kind of exciting about this is we will talk about the Believe, which is the next Wish class ship that's coming out. We'll talk about that towards the end of this, or at some point in the future. People are going to be booking, which is what Disney needed, before the Believe comes out. And so Disney is going to be putting heads in beds on these cruise ships because of these cool different locations and getting their deposit money down, right? And it's because they're doing some interesting things and changing it up. Okay, now we're going to get started. 20 minutes into the show. I'm just kidding. I feel like when you used to host the show, you used to yell at us for being on time, and now you're just rambling like the old man that you're becoming, Steve.
I am an old man. Just kidding. Just out here yelling at a cloud. Yelling on the cloud, I guess.
But let's start with Singapore. They would just be doing 3 and 4 nights, and there'd be nothing to say. So the Disney Adventure, except that the Disney Adventure has added a port. And now some 4-night sailings are going to Malaysia, and that is freaking cool. I have a client that is cruising on the Adventure in February, and we received an email this week that her adventure sailing now has a stop in Malaysia. So that'll be February 2027. So they're starting that in October of 2027 through the December sailings. And that is just super cool.
Yeah, I had to look it up.
Yeah, we don't have spring 2028 for the Adventure. So they must be deciding after the 2027 year what they're going to do, how they're going to handle that ship out there. So that's interesting. I didn't even notice that until now.
It's a kind of a test case for them. You know, still doing the 3-night and 4-night sailings to nowhere, but then also offering a 4-night sailing where they stop in, I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right, but Langkawi, Malaysia, which is an archipelago off Malaysia's northwest coast. So I'm not going to go into all these different ports, but I just wanted to look this one up. If somebody happens to go out there, it's offers a rich blend of mountain vistas, tropical beaches, ancient mangrove reserves, and some local cultural landmarks. So it's kind of a beach day with some cool mountains. You can go take a tram up. And then there's looks like a bridge that goes along through the jungle top. And then there's some waterfalls you can go see. So kind of an outdoor day or a beach day if you end up going on this.
Which is what you would do in Malaysia, I would feel like, in an ideal world, right? Find some beach club with the over-the-water bungalow situation. I feel like Disney's going to do something like that. Okay, let's move on from the Disney Adventure. Where do you want to go next, Steve?
Let's go to the Wonder.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because that one's pretty easy. Thank God. We have like a few easy, well, 2 easy ships. Tell us about the Disney Wonder, Steve, in 2027 and 28.
The Wonder is now the W ship, the West Coast ship, I guess. She's going to just stay out here for the foreseeable future until they try and do something different. And basically, she's kind of doing the same thing. She's doing variations of 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 night sailings featuring Cabo, Puerto Vallarta, Catalina Island, which is an amazing destination. We're going to go there in December. Can't wait to check that out for the first time. And then Ensenada. So pretty much the same thing over and over. Although she does have one-off when over Christmas where she stops in Mazatlán. So if Mazatlan's on your bucket list and you want to go spend Christmas on the Disney Wonder, that's your opportunity to do that. Also, then she also transitions on 4-night sailings, one in the spring, one in the fall, to go up to Vancouver for the Alaska sailing. And I wish she would stop in San Francisco or someplace like that.
I know.
Unfortunately, it's just up to Vancouver and back.
Yay, Disney Wonder. I love the Disney Wonder. I wish she was kind of over here again somewhere because I would really like to sail on her again. And it's hard to take a long flight when I could drive to the port. Just, you know how that is, even for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, good Disney Wonder. Everything looks great there. Let's skip to the Disney Magic. Again, sort of an easy one. Galveston. There were rumors that Galveston was going to be a home port, and the port of Galveston, I believe, issued a press release that said they would have a ship in Galveston. I swear they said year round. The point is, Disney Cruise Line is going to have a presence in Galveston moving forward. I still thought it was going to be the Wish. I still think the Wish is going to end up in Galveston based upon no reason, just that I think that that's where she'll end up at some point if a Wish class ship ends up there. Well, I guess we should start with, I don't even know how to start with the Magic. So the Magic we know is doing Alaskan cruises until the fall. And in the fall, she's going to stay and do the 4, 5, 6, 7 night cruises, West Coast cruises, just like the Wonder. So to Mexico or Baja, right? Things like that. Then, of course, November 4th, she has her Eastbound Panama Canal cruise ending in Galveston. I love a Panama Canal cruise.
One thing to note, they did add stops in Panama going and coming this time. On the Eastbound and then Westbound when she comes back in 2028, which is the first time Disney's done that, which is a lot of people are excited about that, to be able to get off the ship and experience Panama as well.
Yeah, that is super cool. And then like Cartagena is the same that they've done before. Puerto Vallarta, Cabo, they've done those before on that sailing. But great that they can also go to Panama City. That's cool.
So then she gets to Galveston, where it's mostly 4, 7, 5 nights. Mostly, going back and forth to Progreso and then over to Cozumel. But she does have 1 7 night where she's going to go over to the Bahamas, and you're going to get to stop at Lighthouse Point as well in 4 days at sea. So that's
Castaway. Typically, it's too far from Galveston to get to those ports. And so that's why you don't typically get I see what you were looking at. You were looking maybe at the Maritime cruise where she was just going to Lookout, but then the cruise after that for New Year's Eve, and then one other one later in the year, she's doing the 7 night cruises to Lookout and Castaway. But typically it's too far for them to get to those ports on a shorter sailing. And so that is why they don't go. Something to note about Galveston to just keep in mind is that in the winter, it will be cold on your embarkation and disembarkation day. So you have to get out of there for it to warm up. And also sometimes, especially in the early spring, you have a fog problem. And so I would be careful with booking your departure flights or make them more flexible if you are not a resident of Texas where you'd be driving, because that fog can be an issue for your arrival and departure because the ship can't come in.
Good points there. Just to go back to the Wonder and the Magic in San Diego as well. In the summer, it's pretty warm there, even in the evenings. But throughout the rest of the year, it'll warm up during the day. But you're definitely going to want to have at the very least a hoodie and sometimes coats and stuff. in the evenings if you're going to be outside on the ships and stuff like that. It'll be nice when you're down in Mexico, but when you're at sea, it could be a little bit cool in the evenings on those ships throughout most of the year.
Yes, also good points. Look at us being everybody's parents.
Exactly.
Okay, so now it is the cluster, if you will, of the rest of the ships that are just doing all kinds of things. I think we need to start with the Disney Treasure because it's doing the least things of the ships that we have left.
Okay.
And even she has a good number of things going on.
No, but what I think is cool is they're keeping one ship that is actually kind of predictable besides the Wonder off the West Coast. So it kind of gives people like, it's the OG Western Caribbean, Eastern Caribbean sailings. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Christy, but to me, it seems like that's like kind of the graduation. A lot of people dip their feet in the Disney Cruise Line on a 3 or 4 night sailing on the Wish or something like that. And they're like, you know what? We had so much fun. We want to do something more. What's next? In those Eastern, Western Caribbean kind of sailings that they do over and over are just like the perfect thing to step into next.
Yeah, I agree. I think the other people that really thrive on those 7-night Eastern, Western flips are also people from the North that are coming for their like spring break trip or their holiday breaks, their school breaks, because they want it to feel worth it for them to pack up and leave. I remember those were the trips that we did the most of. The Fantasy was the ship that I've sailed the most, and those were all 7-night or more sailings because we were coming from Detroit. And so we wanted it to be worth it. And so that is typically how that worked. So let's talk about what she's doing. So mostly she's doing 7-night Eastern, Western flips. And mostly for the Eastern, she's doing Tortola, St. Thomas, and Castaway. 3 days at sea. That's basically her schedule. And then typically for the Western though looks like it's nope, it's mostly the same also. Cozumel, Grand Cayman, Jamaica, and Castaway. 2 days at sea. So that's mostly what she's doing. They have like different maybe orders sometimes, or whether it's a holiday sailing or not a holiday sailing, but that's most of what she's doing.
There is maybe one off to Puerto Rico in there.
Yes.
instead of stopping at St. Thomas. And then she does have 3 kind of one-offs as well over the holidays.
Yeah. So the one to Puerto Rico for San Juan, I believe that's the week of Thanksgiving for 2027. So I think that's going to be that week. And then the one-offs, she's doing an 8-night cruise for the holidays, Christmas time, 2027. So she's doing an 8-night cruise mostly so that people can be on board and have like that Christmas day without having to get up the next morning and get off the ship. Well, I guess you're still getting off the ship. You're just not getting off the ship on Christmas. And she's doing this the normal Eastern. No, there's San Juan in there as well. Steve, what is different about that?
For 8 nights it's adding San Juan. So 3 days at sea, you're going to get Tortola, St. Thomas, then you also get San Juan. Plus you're going to be over Christmas, which is just magical being on board one of the Disney ships at Christmas, the holiday times.
Yeah, you and I have done that a few times. So yeah, it's one extra port stop. Sorry about that. I was like stuck. But you and I have gone on a couple of cruises together and some separately over the Christmas week. And those cruises really are like an extra element of special.
Oh, they're the best. It's almost like 2 cruises in one, because on this one, you're going to have the beach stuff to begin with. And then you're going to have 3 days at sea where you're going to be able to enjoy Christmas, I believe. Actually, I mean, it hasn't actually specified that. No, you're wrong.
It's the 2 days out. It's always 2 days out to get out that way, but it's all good. Now I kind of want to look, and we're not going to look, but are they ending at Castaway? That can't be. So hopefully, like, Christmas Day is not going to be at Castaway, right? Somebody will tell us.
That wouldn't be too bad, I suppose.
No, it wouldn't. But put it in the comments.
She goes to 7-night, and then as you figured out, that's part of this was to be on board at Christmas time, but then also to make sure that the New Year's cruise works, so you're not getting off New Year's Day.
But she's also switching to Sundays for a few weeks during that holiday split time. And then she does a 6-night in order to put herself back on schedule And that cruise goes to Castaway and Lookout. And, you know, the Treasure does not go to Lookout almost ever. And so, or doesn't go to Lookout. And so this is like a fun one-off of going to their Bahamian, you know, island destinations. And then it goes to Nassau. So it's sort of like jumping on and doing what the Fantasy has been doing. Yes.
Actually, it doesn't. Look at that again, Christy. This cruise has your name written all over it. 2 days,
2
at,
days
Castaway
at Castaway
and Lighthouse and a day at sea.
Yeah. And then Nassau also. Don't forget your little, I want to go scuba diving in Nassau port. But that cruise does have my name all over it. And if I didn't have a school-age child, then maybe. But no, that'll be high school too. So we will not be going January 9th. But that's a great cruise for people. And it, in theory, should get you in on the Treasure for a little bit less money. So if you have kids that can come out of school or you're adults only or whatever, that would be a great cruise to go on. Let's do the Dream.
All right. So the Dream's going to start off in Port Canaveral, and we can't really go over all the different itineraries. There's a whole mixture of different
mostly
lengths.
Bahamian itineraries. And remember, she's already in Port Canaveral from when the Wish goes to Europe. She's taking over the Wish itineraries in the summer of 2027. So that is why she's in Port Canaveral. So she's still here, just doing Bahamian sailings. Then she flip-flops and she goes to
Fort Lauderdale,
where she does more Bahamian sailings of 3 to 6 nights. There's one random 6 night, and that's over Thanksgiving, also for 2027. 2 days at Castaway, Lookout, 1 day at sea, and Nassau. That would be a great Thanksgiving cruise. There's so many flip-flops. Like, we are not going to be able to keep our head on straight for where these ships are going. So, okay, good job.
I mean, really,
it's just getting more difficult to go through these ships.
Well, and really, if you think about it, the Dream and the Destiny are just kind of doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing that they do, but they're doing it from different ports. So like for a while, the Destiny's in Fort Lauderdale doing it, and then she moves up to Port Canaveral, and then the Dream goes from Port Canaveral and moves down to Fort Lauderdale. And they have all different types of sailings from 3, 4, 5 nights, basically around the Bahamas and down to Cozumel.
Yes, they flip-flop. But so some things to note, we'll just stick with the Destiny, I guess, at this point. Some things to know about the Destiny is that her last sailing in Fort Lauderdale is November 24th to the 29th. She then has her next sailing in Port Canaveral on November 30th. This is important because that leaves a spot for a ship in Fort Lauderdale. And I think that the internet would collectively agree at this point that the Believe is going to, based upon this schedule release, that the Believe is going to Fort Lauderdale. So in theory, we don't really know any dates, and we'll get those early October when they do that release, I assume, is that she will do industry cruises where they have the media, they have travel partners, and then the inaugural. And I don't know when that would be, but potentially early or mid to early December. Like December 10th or something, they could do an inaugural. Yeah, I mean, really, realistically, that's when they could do it. They have to do practice cruises. So probably December 15th-ish. Because they usually do a practice cruise for cast members for Disney that get on board and experience it. So then she does up till she leaves. So up to the Destiny leaves to make room for the Believe. She just does 3, 4, 5 night sailings to the Bahamas or to the Western Caribbean. 3, 4, and 5 night sailings to either Nassau or the Western Caribbean, which stops in Cozumel, typically when she does her Westerns. Then when she goes to Port Canaveral, she does have a 7-night cruise that'll cover Christmas. That will be out of Port Canaveral. And then 3 to 6 night cruises doing the same Bahamas or only one cruise going to Mexico from there.
So big picture, the Destiny and the Dream are kind of doing their same things. It's just where they're based out of.
Yep.
And that holiday cruise on the Destiny, if you wanted to get on a 7-night, that would be a great one as well to go on.
Absolutely. And there is a lot to do on the Destiny. So a longer cruise on the Destiny really makes sense. She hardly has any short cruises, which I think is with good reason, because it is difficult to do all the things you need to do on the Destiny in a short period of time. So let's go to the fantasy next.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, okay. So, and the reason we're hemming and hawing is because as we get to the fantasy and the wish, there's sort of a lot to say. They're all over the place, and, you know, it just makes it trickier. But so we went from the easiest to now the fantasy. So the fantasy is leaving my beloved Port Canaveral, and she is leaving Port Canaveral at the end of November. So at the same time that the Destiny is coming here. And I think what's important to note is that, so the December time period and on, we are going to have 3 Wish class ships in Port Canaveral, which is crazy.
It is, right?
It's just
the Treasure, crazy. The Wish, and the Destiny.
The Destiny. Yep.
Yeah. So what's she doing out of Port Canaveral? Basically the same thing she's been doing.
She's doing 5 and 4-night cruises. So Bahamian, and she does a lot of Bahamian cruises now, but she's doing some Western Caribbean cruises as well. And then she has her repositioning cruise, which takes her, oh, did I say that she was going to Fort Lauderdale? She is, but she's not going to Fort Lauderdale before she goes to San Juan. And she does that at the end of November. So she repositions so right after Thanksgiving from Port Canaveral to San Juan.
Right. So she's got 2 sailings out of San Juan, and most of these are legit Southern Caribbean cruises. In the past, like the past couple ones that they've had, 2, December 3rd and December 10th, and then she goes over to Fort Lauderdale, then she comes back again to San Juan and does a couple more in the spring. So these are islands that you know better than I do, but I'm excited about them because you've been down there before.
Yeah, so these are true Southern Caribbean. You have heard me for years when Disney calls that 8-night or whatever cruise that they send the fantasy out usually to, which is really just an Eastern Caribbean sailing that they call a Southern, it ticks me off. But this time she's going to the ABC Islands, which is Aruba. She is going to Bonaire in the spring, and she's going to Curacao. She's going to St. Martin because they just love St. Martin. And then she's also going, so the first Southern Caribbean cruise, she's going in December. She's going to Aruba, Curacao, Dominica, and then Antigua and Barbuda, right? I believe that's how you say that. And then 2 days at sea. So those are just going to be like tropical, warm, just lovely, lovely days.
Right. And then she sails right into a 5-night. From there, she transitions over to Fort Lauderdale to do some sailings there.
Yes. And then she comes back. So that was the 2. Because I was like, I'm looking at 5 cruises on this list. But I know. She has to come back.
Yeah, because we've got our eye set on the April 29th one. So ABC.
That's exciting.
We'll see. Hopefully
the real ABC, which Disney just does not like to do. So that'll be super exciting.
So if that's been on your bucket list, this might be the time to do it. But I kind of feel like with the way they did this is going to be kind of the future, the way they're going to be doing it in the future.
Making us confused as to which ship is in which destination. Exactly. So the reality is that people are going to have to start deciding, because some people would be like, I'll go to Port Canaveral on this week, and which ships are there, I'll pick a ship, and then I will go on it. But now you're going to decide, well, is it that I want to go to the Southern Caribbean? Is that the play that I want to make? Or is it the ship I really want to be on still? Or is it the port I really like? There are so many factors to take into account, which we didn't used to have before. So our beloved Wish, she has, for years. So she came out in 2022, maybe 21, 22. And for the year, she's had her 3 and 4 night flips There's been nothing exciting except maybe a random extra sea day or maybe a random swap of a destination. But boy, oh boy, are they changing that next year. They are just giving her some life.
The wish is the new magic.
Yeah, she is going to be busy, tired. So she starts, well, she'll already be in Europe. So then she has to come back from Europe and she goes to New York. So now we get to discuss our New York sailings. 1 hour.
Before you do that, she does a 12-night westbound transatlantic that a lot of people are excited about because when she leaves Southampton, she goes to Greenock, Scotland, then on over to Iceland, where she's going to be 2 days in Reykjavik. Then she's going to stop in St. John's, Newfoundland, and then 7 days as she sails into beautiful New York Harbor. So a lot of people are pretty excited to see that itinerary.
Oh my God. No, when I saw that one too, I was like, who needs to send their kids to school? We should do this. Overnighting in Iceland. And that time of year, you might get northern lights. So They start in September. So you might get northern lights, which is so darn exciting. So Scotland, I mean, that is so cool. Iceland, so cool. Newfoundland, St. John's, cute little town. And then you end in New York. Amazing. 7 days at sea. A couple of things to note is you will need your Dramamine for the sailing.
Potentially, yes.
Probably. Whatever method you use to calm your motion sickness. It's just that historically, the northern route, right, is the more motiony one. And that is what this is.
Yeah, I Googled it today and they said basically in September is the transition from the summer when the seas are a little bit lower and smoother and you start getting definitely more wave action as you start to go into the winter, and that kind of starts mid-September, which is when she's going to be sailing. So your results may vary, obviously, but it's definitely one of those things you want to think about if you're going to be taking this sailing. Just put it in the back of your mind to be aware of that.
But at least she's a little larger of a ship. She can handle it.
Exactly.
Then she's in her New York season, which I just keep singing Taylor Swift all day. Welcome to New York. It's been waiting for you. That's Taylor Swift, right?
I think so.
Doesn't matter. And they're definitely going to be playing that song when she comes in. It's going to be all exciting again. It's been a few years. So she starts with a 4-night Bermuda cruise, overnighting in Bermuda, which is so cool. We had an episode with Brian, who was on, was it maybe 3 years ago, who did the overnight in Bermuda. That is just so cool to be outside and see the ship at night. Make sure you bring cash, because I do remember from his trip report that places didn't take credit cards. Then she goes 5-night Canadian New England. This cruise is cool because it goes to St. John, and then it also goes to New Brunswick, Boston. Like, how cool would that be? I want to go to Boston. How far away is the port from like where you would be in Boston?
From Boston?
Yeah.
It's literally pretty close to downtown. I mean, it's not, you're not like parked right down. You're going to walk off, but you can see downtown from where the ships park, and it's a quick Uber ride or even a walk into downtown. So
is it a walk for Steve's family or a walk for regular people?
It could be a walk for regular people. And actually there's also, well, I don't know if I'd say this, but the T's right there too. So you can jump on the T and get into downtown as well. So we're pretty close by to it. So you've got some different options, but it wouldn't be like you have to be on a bus for an hour to get downtown. And
Disney sometimes does provide bus transportation from a port to a city or closer to a city. We don't know if they're going to do that for Boston, but it could be a possibility as well. From there, she does a 6-night Bermuda to Canada. So you go Bermuda, Halifax. I mean, you need all of your clothing for that cruise, because you could have some warm weather still in Bermuda, and then you're going to Halifax, Canada, and 3 days at sea. After that, she does, I don't know why I'm going through every port or sailing, but now I'm sticking with it. I'm committed at this point. After that, she's going back to just doing a overnight to Bermuda for 5 nights. She has 2 of those sailings, and then she has a 7-night cruise. This is the Canadian cruise, and this is the only like true Canada cruise where it goes to Charlottetown, Nova Scotia.
Charlottetown, Sydney, Nova Scotia, and Halifax, Nova Scotia, plus 3 days at sea.
So that'll be a 7-night cruise the end of October. That will you will disembark on Halloween, and then there's a 5-night Halloween on the high seas. I mean, they're all Halloween on the high seas, but on Halloween to Bermuda that's a repositioning, ends in San Juan.
Where she does one Southern Caribbean sailing down to Aruba, Bonaire, Dominica, St. Martin, and then that's it. And then she goes over just on a quick 4-day over to Port Canaveral.
So 2 repositionings, but another true Southern Caribbean, which is so cool. I think we did it. I'm so proud of us.
I think we did.
It was less than an hour. Okay, so what we have to talk about next is when the booking windows open, because I swear that every time we do this show, we never remember to discuss booking windows. So booking windows open. Today is Wednesday. The show will hopefully air tomorrow on Thursday. Booking windows open on Monday, August 31st for Pearl. Disney technically states that the opening time is 8 a.m. And that is when the phone lines will open. Platinum is Tuesday, Gold is Wednesday, Silver / Disney Vacation Club members / Adventure Insiders is on Thursday. The thing to remember with if you're using Disney Vacation Club or Adventure Insiders, Disney has to confirm that you are those people. And the Thursday day is always mayhem. And so you just know that the hold time might be long, and that might be a good opportunity to use a travel agent so they can hold it for you. And then booking for the general public begins the following Tuesday, September 8th. So they do like to give a long weekend for people who have previously booked Disney Cruise Line to sort of pick what they want and get their bookings done.
And I think this is going to be a pretty active booking window for people. I mean, it covers a huge time swath to begin with. They got the holidays, you got the fall, and then also the spring. But I mean, with so many different fun sailings, I think people, from what I've seen from the internet, just talking to people that we know, they're all excited about booking something. There's something I feel like for everybody that somebody's excited about with this release.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just a lot to see and do in a million different ports. So like you get to really like check off some like new to me activities, which is super exciting. I was saying in our Patreon group that I really wish that we had a fall break in Blake's school, because that would be great to be able to get on one of those New York sailings as a family.
Yeah, I saw somebody saying they wish that they went back to New York in the spring as well, just to kind of have, 2 opportunities there. But
yeah, it's too cold though, probably.
Yeah,
because
I get that. Yeah. It's usually a little bit more temperate in the fall than it is in the spring.
Right.
So
that's great. We did it. We got through everything. Steve, where can we find you on the internet?
Actually, I had a little fun. I had a little fun with AI.
I forgot about this.
My new best friend. And this isn't anything super excited, but I was like, I wonder what. I had 2 questions for it, and I should have put it to 5, but I put 3, and I'll just throw it out to you. I asked it, what is the 3 most researched Disney cruise ships? What do you think they are?
Disney Wish.
Ding, 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 ding. Number 1.
Mm-hmm. I'm out on the other 2.
The Disney Fantasy is number 2.
I wondered. Okay.
And then the Disney Treasure is number 3.
Fascinating.
Yeah. This is according to AI, so take that for what it's worth.
Right.
But there you go. The Disney Wish getting a lot of love from the internet. And it makes sense, because it's probably, everybody going down to Walt Disney World, you spend time there and you want to jump on a cruise. It just makes sense for most people to jump on the Wish, right?
And honestly, the new and shiny, this ship is great for families, for kids, for that demographic, and for people who want entertainment at dinner. It's us old folk that want to be on our quieter ships. And so,
Yeah, my beloved wondered was not one of the top 3. Maybe she's been gone too far to the East Coast for so long. All right, here's the last one.
Yeah.
The top 5 most researched Disney Cruise Line itineraries. What do you think they are?
Bahamas. But how do you put that in there? Like, do they want a port, Castaway Key?
So I don't know if these were, maybe that was too vague of a question, and I'm not sure that these are totally in order, but it came up with the 7-night Eastern and Western was the first one. Then 3 or 4 night Bahamian getaways, which I would have picked that one as first. Alaska is third. I think Alaska is like one of those bucket list ones, right?
I think that makes sense, because if you were going to research something, it probably does make sense to do Alaska. If you're going to research Alaska, you're going to research the Eastern and Western Caribbean. I guess we should write some blog post about the Bahamas.
We should. And it goes on to one of your favorite destinations. You've been there 3 times, I think, if not more. The 7 to 9 night Mediterranean and Greek Isle sailings.
Oh, yeah.
Do like a Greek Isle sailing.
Oh, those are good. Maybe I've only been there twice, though, to the Greek Isles.
Twice? Maybe I guess it is twice.
Yeah, with you. And then one other.
This year.
Yeah, because then I went to Norway when it wasn't Greek Isles, but for my Europe sailings. But the Greek Isles, wait, is that the next destination of research?
Yeah, that was the next destination of research.
Do you remember when we were recording and when the Greek Isles first came out and it like the DCL community lost their little loving minds and like bookings blew up and then it all got canceled because of COVID? But how everybody just wanted so badly to go on those Greek Isle cruises.
Yeah, because I can't remember how long, because they'd been there before, but it'd been a long time since the Magic had gone down to the Greek Isles. So I think people were really excited just to get to do something different. Yeah. And I mean, who doesn't want to go to Greece, right?
Right.
Islands, food,
history,
beaches, history. Yeah.
So much cool things.
And the last one, it's my poor 7-night Mexican Riviera cruises out here on the West Coast.
I don't even believe anybody's researching that. Nobody's researching that. They take that cruise because it's what they have locally. I'm just kidding. Well, Sorry, Internet.
I put 5, so it had to give you a 5th one, right? So
there was nothing left to research.
So, but no, we jest a little bit. Those are some fun sailings too. Cabo's a great destination. Catalina's a great destination, and we've had a lot of fun with the ports our port excursions in Ensenada. Downtown Ensenada, maybe not the best place, but some fun port excursions there too. So.
We even did an episode that you and I did about Ensenada things to do. And I think that was a really good one. You know how it's so funny because I'm making fun of the 7-night Wonder cruises or Mexican Riviera cruises. But like you and I and Nova, we are all excited about Catalina Island. And then I talked to a client this week who's like, Catalina Island is like in our backyard. Why do people even care? It's not exciting. We can go there anytime we want. And that is just the difference of whether it's the thing that people can do all the time or if it's the exciting, like new thing that you have to try. And so it just is perspective. So don't worry if we're making fun of it. And also everybody's going to have something that they don't care about. And that is exciting to somebody else.
And go listen to Dennis's show that he was just recently on. His family sailed to Catalina. Everybody I've heard talk about Catalina has loved their experience there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good episode. So
anyways.
It was good to see you. You know, Steve, while we were rambling at one point, I was thinking, just kidding. I love you, Steve. We started recording together 9.5 years ago.
Wow.
So
wow.
In January 2027, we're going to have to do a little revival type anniversary show because it will be 10 years from when I joined you on the podcast. And then we did this, podcast together for years.
I think the show's amazing now with Lake's perspective and the way that you guys do it. It was time for a change, and I think it's a good change, and it's moving forward, and that's what happens in life and everything like that. And the podcast was so old by the time you joined too. It was like 10 years and 1 month when you joined.
No, it was like 3 episodes. And
well, that's what I mean. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. It was basically 1 month old.
Yeah, there you go. 1 month
with maybe 1 or 2 episodes.
And you had been on 2 Disney cruises.
Yeah,
right.
I'm so glad I'm so glad you joined it because it wouldn't have continued if you hadn't. So.
Well, evidenced by your lack of being on the podcast anymore. Steve, I love having you back on. I love talking to you. Thank you so much. We'll see what Lake turns out with the editing of us rambling at the end of this episode. But it's so good to see you. And if people want more Steve, where do we find you on the internet?
You can find me basically over on Instagram, DCL_adventurers. We just got back from Alaska, put some fun videos up from there. We had an opportunity to see some whales, which was really cool.
The coolest Alaskan video in the history of Alaskan videos, this whale bubble feeding by Steve's whaleboat. Oh my gosh. You have it saved on your wall, right? Or was it just in a story?
It's in a story. I'm going to save it to the wall, but I'll make sure I get it to you so that you can post it up when at some point on the Facebook page or wherever else you want to put it. And then we've got the Destiny coming up here soon. So you can follow me there. Love trying to post what we're doing. Then also, if there's some cool things, I love following what everybody else is doing, posting up other people's stuff as well.
Yeah, and we'll get you back on at some point when you get back from the Destiny. Obviously, you have to get back to work, but when you get back so we can talk about what you think of the ship and the changes that they've done since the Wish, which of just the entertainment. And I think you're going to absolutely love it.
I'm excited.
You can follow me all over the internet at Pack Your Pixie Dust. And I will be finishing up this week my Adventures by Disney vlog series on YouTube. So you can check that out. If you'd like to work with me, there is a work with me link in the show notes that Lake has put up. So you can contact me. And if you have an old placeholder, we have, for whatever reason, been able to transfer those past the 30-day mark as long as they're not assigned to another travel agent. So I'd be happy to discuss if we can transfer that and work together if you'd like. You can follow Lake at MouseGen on Instagram and Facebook, and then, or YouTube rather. I mean, he's also on Facebook, but not really. And then you can follow the podcast at DCL Podcast all over the internet as well, but Instagram and Facebook. And that's going to do it for this episode. Again, Steve, thank you for coming on. And we hope everybody has, I always forget the end. And I listen to the end of every episode. Oh, I think Lake says, thanks for listening. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
The DCL podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.